Saudi Arabia pledges $3 billion in aid to the Lebanese armed forces. The gift comes as tensions run high both inside Lebanon and across the region. So is this huge sum a recipe for further turmoil, or will it allow for greater security? This is Inside Story. Hello there and a warm welcome to the programme. I'm Laura Kyle. Lebanese President Michel Sleiman announced the $3 billion donation on Sunday. He described it as the largest grant ever given to the country's armed forces.
This
aid aims to support Lebanon in all its religions and support the Lebanese army that is known for supporting national unity. We will provide it with all the needed conditions to achieve the great national cause that it was set up for.
Sleiman made the announcement after the funeral of senior Lebanese politician Mohammed Shatta, who was killed in a car bomb on Friday. Now, the timing is important because Shatta was critical of Lebanon's Shia movement, Hezbollah, and Syria's president, which Hezbollah supports. But there's been no claim of responsibility for his killing. Lebanon's army has struggled to deal with violence that spilled over from Syria's civil war and is seen as weak in dealing with armed internal groups, especially Hezbollah. So let's explore the reasons behind this Saudi donation and the potential ramifications. And here to help us do that, our guests. In Beirut, we have Hisham Jaber, retired Lebanese Army General and head of the Middle East Center for Studies and Research. In Tehran, Sadegh Zibakalam, Professor of Political Science at Tehran University. And from Dubai, we're joined by Mustafa Alani, military analyst and senior advisor at the Gulf Research Center. Thank you all, gentlemen, very much for being with us here today. This donation is enormous, $3 billion. I believe that's almost double the amount of Lebanon's entire defense budget last year. Mustafa Alani, if I could start with you, why has Saudi Arabia given this extraordinary amount of money?
Actually, it's no secret that Saudi Arabia is very concerned about the stability of Lebanon since the Al-Ta'if agreement in 1990. They sponsored a Ta'if agreement, hoping that the country is going to be stabilized, and they discovered the weak state. It is a major problem, and weak state because there is a weak army. So the link between weak state and weak army, it is a major problem. This is the cause of the instability. And we have now a state within a state. Hezbollah is the state. Hezbollah militia is superior to the national force of Lebanon. So this situation cannot be sustained for long. Someone has to step in and rebalance the power on the ground and to allow the state to impose its authority. We have Security Council Resolution 1559, 2004, which asks for demand, actually, for the disbanding and disarming all the militia, Lebanese or non-Lebanese. We have the 1991 law, which is enacted by the Lebanese parliament, which disband all the militia. At that time, their exception for Hezbollah because resistant movement, because the Israelis were occupying south of Lebanon. What is now? Now Hezbollah is occupying Lebanon, not South Lebanon. Hezbollah is hijacking the state. So without reinforcing the army, without reinforcing the ability of the state, I don't think that the stability in Lebanon can be established. And this is basically the reason behind the Saudi's donation.
So you say that someone has to step in to help stabilize Lebanon, but why does that someone have to be Saudi?
Actually, it's not only Saudi. If you look at 2009, the United Arab Emirates donated 13 helicopter, Gazar helicopter to the army. And other countries, other Gulf states is donating and helping the army. But without such a big injection, cash injection, I don't think the army can be rebuilt itself. The objection is to double the size of the army. The army is now around 50,000. The objective is to have 100,000, and the quality and the quantity of arms. And this is an international community responsibility, not Saudi Arabia. But we faced a lot of objection from the United States in the past to rearm and to enhance the ability of the army because they think that this could threaten the security of Israel. Now, apparently, the Saudis decide to go ahead in disregard to the United States objection.
Hisham Jaber, what do you see Lebanon spending this $3 billion on?
First of all, I don't agree with your guest about the Lebanese army and Hezbollah, and so he did mixed things together. Second, $3 billion is very important amount to buy weapons. We cannot make any defense strategic plan, which we were talking about it in Lebanon for years, without to build up an army, which will be the first milestone in this defense strategic plan. If we build up this army and will present kind of deterrence, you know, to anyone who will attack Lebanon, and especially Israel, because Israel, according to the constitution in Lebanon, is the potential enemy of Lebanon. We have to build up an army to present a deterrence against any attack, like now Hezbollah is doing that role in that job. They did not want to build up the army in Lebanon. No one. And they want at the same time take off the weapons of the resistance. Now, it's first step, it's a grant. We have to thank Saudi Arabia for this grant. And I think, and we wrote many articles and studies about it, I think we have 3 ways to build up an army. First of all, to create a funds like the Lebanese army, to have cash money like the Lebanese army did draw a map, a plan for 5 years, $5 billion. Then we can have grants, we can have money grants, and we can have also put taxes, you know, for some items. We can have money, cash money, we can buy from anywhere. Second, we can accept weapons, like United States has been given Lebanon some weapons and some cars and some vehicles for 20 years, but it's peanuts in my opinion. But any country in the world want to give Lebanon weapons, whether brand new or used, I think we have to accept it. And third way, like now what Saudi Arabia did, we can buy from a country like France, paid by third country like Saudi Arabia. Now I think Lebanon will start to ask for military equipment for the land forces, the army, and we need also for the Navy. Also we need helicopters for Lebanon, for the Air Force.
Okay, but and of course it will be important to see what sort of weapons we get for Lebanon gets from France, and whether or not they are of use to the Lebanese army.
Yes, ma'am, but it's not the question. Do you think that all the list of equipment, if presented by the Lebanese army, will be accepted by France? I don't think.
Okay, but that remains to be seen. Sadegh Zibakalam, we haven't heard yet from Hezbollah. We haven't had a reaction to this Saudi aid. Do you think they're going to welcome it as a strengthening of the security forces there in Lebanon, or are they going to see it as a challenge?
Well, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Basically, Hezbollah, which is an ally of the Islamic Republic of Iran, obviously is not, as Mustafa Alani put it, an outside force. I mean, let's face it, Mr. Alani in Dubai, we are talking of people of Lebanon. We are talking about 40% at least of the Lebanese people. You talk about the Hezbollah as they are an outside force, as they are foreigner, as they are strangers. Mr. Alani, they are part of the Lebanon country, Lebanon community. They have fought against Israel, as Hisham said it in Beirut. They are part and parcel of what we call Lebanon. Obviously, they would regard any help by the Saudis or whoever to help strengthening Lebanese armed forces is
Mr. Zibakalam, if I could just jump in there, because I just have to pick up on one point that confuses me at least. If Hezbollah is part and parcel of the country, as you say, and no doubt it is a force to be reckoned with there, why won't it join the army?
Well, the point is that it goes back to the very fabric of Lebanon. Let us accept the reality that Lebanon so far has been a divided country. Basically, as we all know, there are three distinct ethnic groups in Lebanon: the Shiite, Sunni, and Christians. Now, we all know that, excluding one group, be that group Shiite, be that group Sunni, be that group Christian, you cannot have a stability in Lebanon. So if Saudi Arabia, if United States, if any other power tries to sort of disturb the balance of power in favor of one group against the other, it will not help. In other words, if that 3 billion is helped to strengthen one group, Christian or Sunni, against Hezbollah, against Shiite, it will simply enhance the problem, the conflict that we have in Lebanon.
Let's see if Mr. Alani agrees with that.
The problem.
Do you think that that Mr. Zibakalam has a point, that this money may be used by the army to fight against the power of Hezbollah?
Yes, yes. First, you know, Hezbollah destroyed all the great history of Hezbollah as a resistance force. Now it turned to be a group of gangsters hijacking the state, a state within a state, and not only threatening the security and stability of Lebanon, is now crossing international border to underpin a dictatorship in Syria. And possibly tomorrow they will be sent to Bahrain or Yemen, God knows. So the question of Saudi Arabia that's strengthening the army definitely have a direct impact on this sort of calculation. Secondly, it is, you know, the question here, how long we allowed a militia to be stronger than the armed forces of the country, a militia which linked to the interests of outside country. Hezbollah was ordered to march, you know, to cross the border by Iran. They crossed the border. So we're talking about a proxy army in Lebanon. So without strengthening the capability of the Lebanese army, I don't think we're going to see any stability in Lebanon. It's just kiss it goodbye. There is no stability in Lebanon as long as this group hold the arm and hold, in the name of the resistant. What resistant? The international border now recognized even by Lebanon and even by Hezbollah. They didn't fire one single bullet on Israel for the past 7 years. So the question here, we're talking about the international community must come together and implement Security Council resolution, implement the parliament, the Lebanese parliament resolution, and Hezbollah must be disarmed and disbanded and become, as it is, a Hezbollah party, a political party, not an army, not a state within a state.
And do you think that this deal is a way forward to achieve that?
I think it is a combination of you have to approach this matter by multiple approach. Definitely strengthening the Lebanese army is important in quantity and quality as well. The Lebanese army is for all the Lebanese. It's not only for Sunnis or the Christian or the Shiites, for everybody. This is the history of the Lebanese army. So it is important to establish this money going to help. I'm not going to say that this money is going to solve the problem. It's going to is a modest contribution to establish a strong army and equipment and training, quality, quantity.
Okay.
And the other thing is the political pressure. Political pressure must, where is the United States? Why the United States not saying anything when Hezbollah crossing international border and underpinning the dictatorship in Syria? So it is the question, the blame is not, the Saudis not only putting the blame on Hezbollah, putting the blame on United States and international community, which is unable to implement Security Council resolution.
Mr. Hisham Jaber, why is the Lebanese army so weak?
Because they don't want anyone to defend Lebanon. We said, your guest made a political speech. I am here to make political analysis. And analyze, you have to put your feeling outside. Let me tell your guest, whether you like Hezbollah or you don't like it, Now Hezbollah is the only force which present deterrence to forbid Israel to come and to attack Lebanon. Until we build up a Lebanese army, and Hezbollah and other groups in Lebanon could be as a paramilitary forces around or behind the army, that time we can say that we can have really a deterrence, a real deterrence, official and non-official, to protect Lebanon. The other day, I was on the TV when the Israeli soldier was killed. A spokesman Israeli said, "We fear Hezbollah. That Lebanese army is very weak. We can destroy it in 3 days." This is 15 days ago. Now, it's not that the question. We have to build up an army. This is the strategic defense. After that, we can put all paramilitary forces to support that army. Second, why the Lebanese army is weak? Because we don't have budget. Now, thanks for Saudi Arabia to buy and to pay $3 billion, to be fair, $3 billion. We hope that it would be motivation for other countries to give Lebanon also a grant. 2 years ago, Iran present its will to give Lebanese army equipment. Many political voices, they said no, because they said there are political conditions. Now, on the other side, they said also, we do accept the Saudi grant without political conditions.
Okay.
In my opinion, we have to accept all grants for the army, to build up an army, and to stop this discussion and to leave this army weak. I don't think United States of America will provide this army by any air defense system, because Israel say no.
Okay,
and also
it
France,
is clearly a regional issue that we're focusing on here with Saudi, with Iran. And in the past 3 years, Saudi Arabia has in fact been pushing to be the Middle East's most powerful player. In Egypt, we've seen them backing the military coup that overthrew President Mohamed Morsi. Within 2 hours of that coup, the Saudis had pledged $5 billion in aid. They've also positioned themselves as crucial players in Syria, funding the rebels against President Bashar al-Assad and providing them with weapons. And in Yemen, the Saudis carefully brokered the power transition in 2011 following the uprising there. That allowed its longtime ally, Ali Abdullah Saleh, to leave office with immunity from prosecution. Sadegh Zibakalam, to what extent do you think Iran sees any Saudi move in the region as ultimately an effort to counter Iranian influence?
Well, whether we like it or not, the reality is that we are observing a development which is not helpful to the democracy, and that development is Shiite and Sunni rivalry, which is basically a rivalry between Islamic Republic of Iran and Saudi Arabia. We see that rivalry not only in Syria, but we also see that rivalry, as you quite correctly mentioned it, we also observe it in Yemen, in Bahrain, and also we have been observing in Lebanon. But as far as Lebanon is concerned, I am very surprised of what Mr. Alani is advocating. Mr. Alani is talking of Hezbollah as though Hezbollah is an arch enemy of Lebanese army. Hezbollah would be the first force that would support a military force, an army which could resist the integrity and the national integrity of Lebanon against outside attack, namely against Israel. So the question that we should ask ourselves is that, is Saudi Arabia enhancing further Shiite and Sunni rivalry in Lebanon? Or is Saudi Arabia trying to mend bridges? Or is Saudi Arabia trying to build national unity in Lebanon? This is the question that we have to ask ourselves. Are we helping national unity in Lebanon?
Let's allow Mr. Alani to respond. What is Saudi Arabia's role in Lebanon? How does it see its position?
Well, first you have to remember half of the Lebanese army is a Shia. So when the Saudis done the donation, they're well aware of this fact. They want a national army in disregard to the Shia, Sunni, or Christian. They want to build an army. But this will run against the Hezbollah and Iran interest, because now Hezbollah have the upper hand militarily, and they will not accept competition from the army. They want the army to be weak, and they use always the argument that we are the protector of Lebanon, not the army. And this is, you know, if the effort to build an army, a strong army in Lebanon, going to be successful, I think Hezbollah will put every effort, and Iran, to destroy and to undermine this task at any price, because this is going to take the flame from Hezbollah argument.
Mr. Sadegh Zibakalam, how will Iran respond? Is it likely to respond with an even greater contribution to Hezbollah?
As Hisham Jaber said, I mean, it's not my word, it is Hisham Jaber's word, Iran welcomes any move, be it by Saudi Arabia, be it by United States, be it by anyone, which will maintain, which will support, which will strengthen, which will build up a national army in Lebanon. And as I said, Hezbollah would be the first force that would support, that would help a national army in Lebanon. Unlike and contrary to what Mr. Alani said, a couple of weeks ago, Iran offered support to help and to assist the Lebanese army, but because of political reasons, they refused. So Iran is always in favor of a strong army, because Iran knows that if there is a strong army, it will resist any move, any attempt by Israelis against Lebanon.
Okay, Hisham Jaber, just to go back to a question I asked earlier, I'm not sure we got a very clear response. How will Hezbollah respond to this donation by Saudi?
I don't think it will respond negatively to this donation. It will say maybe it will say why you didn't accept the donation of Iran. That's it. And I don't think any Lebanese can be against this donation when this donation it come without any political condition. This is first. Also, I would correct what your guest from Dubai said, that half of the Lebanese army are Shia. No, it's not true at all. Lebanese army, of course, at the level of the soldier and enlisted, there is 60%, 65%, maybe, they are Muslims, Sunni, Shia, and the Druze. And 35 to 40% are Christian. But at the level of officers are 50-50. 50% Christian and 50% Muslim, Sunni, Shia, and Druze. This is for sure. He has to correct his information. Second, I hope in this Saudi step would be motivation to other countries to help Lebanon, in my opinion, and will be credit for Lebanon, not a debate and a political debate also.
Okay, Mustafa Alani, the last word to you. We are running, unfortunately, out of time. It generally seems to be an agreement that this donation is a good thing for Lebanon. Of course, we must remember, though, that the parliamentary situation is very fragile. There's a great political void, and the president's term runs out in just a few months. So do you think we can see this deal carried out to fruition?
I mean, you see, the problem in Iraq is, the major problem in Iraq is the weak army. And the good thing in Egypt is a strong army. The army is holding Egypt together. Okay, some people agree, disagree. And the weak army in Iraq is destroying the state. So the question of Lebanon is, Lebanon will not be a stable state. And as long as a militia, a group of militia, belong to a certain sect of the society, control the force on the ground. And this must be corrected. Otherwise, we're going to see Lebanon unstable for 100 years ahead.
Okay. And there we'll have to leave it. Thanks very much to all our guests today for joining us. In Beirut, Hisham Jaber. In Tehran, Sadegh Zibakalam. And in Dubai, Mustafa Alani. And thanks very much to you two for joining us on this edition of Inside Story. If you want to send us your feedback, do email us your thoughts to insidestory@aljazeera.net. Thanks again for watching, and bye for now.